Marvel gave these heroes everything: solo comics, crossover events, even early movie rumors, and then they were dropped. No final issue, no death, just gone. For years, they were quietly shelved like they never mattered. These weren't minor side characters. They were hyped as Marvel's next franchise leads, until it all stopped. Some vanished after one failed arc. Others faded because of poor sales or shifting priorities. But who were these characters? And what made Marvel give up so suddenly? Let's break down 10 heroes who vanished after their biggest push. At number 10 is Robbie Baldwin, aka Speedball, a Marvel hero who first appeared in the Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 22, 1988. Gaining kinetic energy powers after a lab accident, Robbie could bounce through impacts by converting force into motion. He received an early solo series in 1988 and became a founding member of the New Warriors, where he remained a regular presence through the 1990s. His most dramatic turn came during 2006's Civil War, when Robbie survived the Stanford explosion that killed 612 civilians. Traumatized, he re-emerged as Penance, a darker version of himself wearing a suit lined with 612 internal spikes, symbolizing each life lost. Though this transformation placed him at the center of a major Marvel event, the shift was controversial and deeply changed his trajectory. Robbie eventually returned to his Speedball identity in Avengers Academy, but the character never fully recovered his past prominence. Since then, he has appeared only sporadically, with no major solo or team spotlight. At number 9 is Howard the Duck, a satirical, meta-aware character first appearing in 1973, who became one of Marvel's most recognizable yet frequently sidelined heroes. Known affectionately as a lovable outsider, Howard consistently drew critical praise for his unique humor and biting commentary. Marvel repeatedly tried to elevate Howard, hiring notable creators for his solo series, and even featuring him in memorable Marvel Cinematic Universe cameos. Despite these pushes, Howard struggled to sustain widespread commercial appeal. His ongoing solo comics ultimately failed to resonate broadly, repeatedly ending in cancellation. As a result, Howard gradually transitioned from headlining stories to occasional guest spots alongside similarly meta-aware heroes like Deadpool and Gwenpool. His solo presence steadily faded, and today he lives on in cameos, a once bold icon Marvel quietly shelved. Although fondly remembered by devoted fans, Howard remains largely absent from major comic arcs, illustrating how even beloved, critically acclaimed characters can struggle to maintain prominence when commercial success eludes them. At number 8 is Masked Raider, a Golden Age cowboy hero introduced in Marvel Comics number 1, 1939, who faded into obscurity for decades. Marvel revived the mantle in 2019's Marvel Comics number 1000, introducing a new, unidentified masked raider wielding the Eternity Mask, an artifact granting power equal to any opponent. While Marvel teased his significance in titles like Incoming and Marvel Comics number 1001, a promised solo series never materialized. However, the character returned in the 2021 Defenders series by Al Ewing and Javier Rodriguez, where he joined Doctor Strange and others on a cosmic quest. During this series, his identity was revealed as Carlo Zota, a former supervillain linked to the Enclave. Despite this development, the Masked Raider has not headlined his own series, and his long-term role in the Marvel Universe remains uncertain, his potential seemingly shelved amid shifting editorial priorities and newer character introductions. Those last picks faded quietly, but the next 3? Marvel gave them massive solo runs, tied them into major events, and even hinted at long-term plans. So why did they disappear? At number 7 is Darkhawk, aka Chris Powell, a 1990s-era hero introduced in Darkhawk number 1, 1991, launched during Marvel's push for edgier characters. Chris discovers an alien amulet that transforms him into a high-tech armored hero. The character quickly became a favorite among younger readers, and Marvel gave him a significant push with a 50-issue solo series, a rare achievement for a new hero at the time. He appeared alongside major names like Spider-Man and the New Warriors. But after the series ended in 1995, Darkhawk's presence began to fade. He was relegated to supporting roles in lesser-known teams like the Loners, or cosmic arcs like War of Kings. Later storylines took darker turns, showing him as a tortured, unstable weapon figure. In 2021, Marvel introduced a new Darkhawk, but both versions have since vanished from main continuity. Despite early success, Chris Powell's momentum collapsed, and today he remains a 90s icon grounded by modern apathy. At number 6 is Sleepwalker, a strange but fascinating hero from Marvel's early 90s lineup. An alien from the Mindscape dimension, he became trapped in the mind of college student Rick Sheridan, only able to enter the real world when Rick was asleep. His unique concept and eerie design earned him a solo series, Sleepwalker, 1991 to 1994, which ran for 33 issues, a solid run for a new character. He was even featured in the Infinity War event, battling supernatural threats alongside major heroes. But after the cancellation of his solo title, Sleepwalker disappeared for nearly a decade. Later appearances were minimal, often relegated to brief cameos or niche events. His last major role came in Infinity Wars, Sleepwalker, 2018, but since then, he hasn't returned to mainstream continuity. Marvel has made no further attempts to revive the character, and his once promising concept remains unused in current storylines. At number 5 is Nova, aka Richard Rider, a Marvel cosmic hero introduced in The Man Called Nova #1, 1976, as an ordinary teenager chosen by the Nova Corps to become their Earth-based champion. His first solo series ran for 25 issues before ending in 1979, after which the character disappeared from publication for nearly a decade. He returned in 1989 as a founding member of the New Warriors, gaining renewed visibility and leading to several more solo attempts. His biggest push came in the 2000s with Annihilation, where Nova played a central role and became a key figure in Marvel's cosmic lineup. However, he was presumed dead in the Thanos Imperative 2010 and remained absent until 2016. Since that return, his appearances have been sporadic, often limited to supporting roles. The planned MCU adaptation was reportedly shelved, and current storylines suggest another possible removal. With focus shifting towards Sam Alexander, Richard Rider continues to face long gaps between appearances despite strong fan support. At number 4 is Gambit, Remy LeBeau, the mutant thief from New Orleans with the power to charge objects with kinetic energy. He debuted in Uncanny X-Men number 266, 1990, and quickly rose to prominence in the 1990s as a core member of the X-Men. His charm, skill in combat, and relationship with Rogue made him one of the decade's most popular characters. Marvel gave him multiple solo pushes, including 3 ongoing series in 1999, 2004, and 2012, as well as Gambit, King of Thieves in 2014. However, each title was canceled within 20 issues due to low sales. In 2014, Gambit was included in All New X Factor, which also ended early. Writer Peter David later stated that Marvel was unlikely to use him as a lead again. A long-planned solo film starring Channing Tatum was canceled after Disney's acquisition of Fox. Since then, Gambit has appeared infrequently in major storylines, with no ongoing series or confirmed media plans in development. But the final 3 weren't just abandoned, they were blocked. Editorial mandates, licensing issues, and failed replacements all played a part. At number 3 is Cable aka Nathan Summers, the time-traveling mutant son of Cyclops and Madeline Pryor. Born with powerful telepathic and telekinetic abilities, he was infected as an infant with a techno-organic virus and sent to the future to survive. Raised as a hardened warrior, Cable returned to the present in New Mutants number 87, 1990, and quickly became one of Marvel's most popular characters of the decade. He led the transformation of the New Mutants into X-Force, headlined multiple solo series, and became a central figure in the X-Men universe. His popularity extended beyond comics, with a major role in Deadpool 2. But in recent years, Cable's prominence has declined. The rise of Deadpool overshadowed him, and Marvel editorial mandates like No More Future Mutants have sidelined characters with complex time travel backgrounds. Cable still appears in ensemble books, but his era as a headline character has ended. Editorial shifts and evolving audience preferences have pushed Cable out of the spotlight he once dominated. At number 2 is Rohm the Space Knight, a character created through a licensing deal between Parker Brothers and Marvel Comics. Rohm debuted in Rohm #1, 1979, written by Bill Mantlo and drawn by Sal Buscema. He was once a human poet from Galador who sacrificed his body to become a cyborg warrior, battling the shape-shifting dire wraiths across space. His armor granted flight, strength, and durability, while his neutralizer could banish enemies to limbo. Rohm's solo title ran for 75 issues across 7 years, during which he crossed over with major Marvel heroes like the X-Men, Hulk, Doctor Strange, and the Avengers. Despite being tightly woven into Marvel continuity, Rohm vanished entirely from Marvel stories after 1986 due to the expiration of Marvel's licensing rights. Without ownership of the character, Marvel could no longer use or reprint his stories. In 2023, Marvel reacquired reprint rights, but ROM remains legally barred from new Marvel stories. His disappearance remains Marvel's most definitive case of a character lost to licensing. At number 1 is Frank Castle, the Punisher, a Marine veteran who became a vigilante after his family was murdered in Central Park. Over decades, he became one of Marvel's most iconic anti-heroes, known for his military precision, lethal tactics, and relentless war on crime. In 2022, Marvel gave Frank one of his biggest pushes ever, reimagining him as the High Priest of the Hand. He adopted a new Oni-inspired skull symbol and operated as their top assassin. But the story ended with Frank rejecting the Punisher identity and exiling himself to another dimension, removing him from the Marvel Universe entirely. In 2023, Marvel introduced Joe Garrison as a new Punisher in a separate series, but it was canceled after just 4 issues. The original Punisher's departure and the quick failure of his replacement reflect how central Frank Castle is to the role. Since then, the Punisher mantle has been dormant, and Frank Castle remains missing from Marvel's current continuity. Marvel pushed these heroes to the spotlight, then left them behind. Which one deserves a second chance? Drop a comment and hit subscribe for more stories Marvel hoped you'd forget.